tired. It's been a long day and a long night. Long night and a long day. I'm almost done with my shift. I got about, let me see how much time I got left. I want to get in the shower. I'm waiting to see how much. So 4:38, I got 38 minutes left. So I'm pretty much about to end in 38 minutes. I'm ending my shift. And he's going to take over. But I wanted to talk to y'all about winter driving because I feel like I should. Um, a lot of drivers out here are afraid of the snow. And I think they have because when I first started driving, I had like this ideal of what I felt like it was going to be like driving in the snow and rain and wind and all of that. The first time I started driving, I was so scared because I just felt like maybe my truck was going to react the same way a car reacts. But that's not how it happens. So we're going to talk about it. I'm going to let some more people get in here before I go into it. And we're going to talk about the winter driving. We're going to talk about my co-driver. We're going to talk about those two things. And yeah. I got a little bit of sleep last night, so I'm like super duper tired. Last night was crazy. So we got on the road, everything was good. I was asleep, and then I hear him saying, "Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit." I'm like, "What happened?" I guess a car spanned out and ended up hitting a FedEx driver. The FedEx driver, I think, jackknifed, and then there was an accident. So I got out to see. I was smelling the stuff. I saw a car. There was a car. I went live last night, but there was a car on the side in the ditch. So I got out to see if I could smell what I thought I was smelling, and I realized it was literally black ice on the ground. So I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna treat the roads, and we're gonna continue to drive. So the roads open back up. We're driving. I go back to sleep, and then we're in traffic, dead standstill for like I don't even know how many hours, probably 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. And I guess it was a fatality. And so after that, he got to a rest area and we switched shifts. And then he said that he didn't want to drive no more. He didn't want to team no more because he didn't want to be in the snow and the ice. And I'm just thinking, it never occurred to me that like if you didn't feel safe, shut down. And I think that a lot of drivers, even myself included, have like this preconceived notion of what it's like driving in the snow. And so I just want to talk about it a little bit because, he said that he'll stay on the truck and all of that. Our fleet manager called and talked to him and stuff like that. They put me in a bad mood a little bit because now I feel like, what's next? Like what's going to happen next? Like, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. Like at any moment, something is going to happen, and then he's going to want to get off the truck. But for right now, he's on the truck. He's not getting off. He changed his mind and he's staying. So let's talk about winter driving, right? When white stuff is falling out the sky, your truck is not automatically. I got a phone call. Anywho, your truck is not going to automatically slide off of the road, right? And there's like so many different variables you could think about and work on and look at when it comes to driving in winter weather, like snow, ice, rain, freezing rain, stuff like that. So we're going to talk about it step by step. When you're in a car, it's very dangerous to drive on the road because you're lighter than a truck. So a little movement will have cars spinning out, especially little movement will have cars spinning out, especially if you're going too fast for the conditions. So conditions. So in a truck, you could jackknife if you're going too fast for the conditions. But just like in a truck, when you're turning a corner, you learn that when you turn that corner, you want to slow down so you don't flip your truck over. And you'll learn when you're driving in inclement weather, slow down so you know you can maintain control of your vehicle. So that's probably like step number one, right? Slow down for weather conditions. If I could just tell you based on like just common sense, if you're driving 15 miles an hour, you're driving slow enough that whatever happens, you could stop. If you're driving 20 miles an hour on ice or something like that, it might be kind of iffy. Anything higher than that, you're not going to be able to stop if something happened, like if you hit a long, big old patch of black ice. You ain't going to be able to control your vehicle if you're going any faster than that. So, say, for example, the worst case scenario is straight up black ice, is terrible, everybody's crashing around you. If you go 15 miles an hour, you are not going to crash, you're not going to die, you're going to be good, right? Pull off the road and shut down. Whenever there's inclement weather like ice and snow, you want to drive during the daylight hours. Don't drive after the nighttime hours when temperatures drop below 30 something degrees. In the daytime, you can pretty much see, even though they say you can't see black ice, you can see black ice. Black ice looks a little teeny bit shinier than wet pavement. But the rule of thumb is during winter weather, like snow and stuff like that, just drive during the daylight hours, right? And when you're driving, look at the cars around you. Look at their tires. Do you see water spraying up from the tires? They call it spray. If you don't see spray, pretty much it's going to be ice on the ground. But a lot of the roads and highways out here, are y'all able to comment? Are y'all commenting? Um, a lot of the highways and roads, they treat with salt and sand so that there won't be no ice. And that pretty much works for the most part on all roads. The only time that you're going to get packed snow on the ground is if the snow is falling too fast for the for the salt and sand to work its magic on the road. And then you'll see the packed ice. Or if it's just so much ice on the road that the salt, or it's so cold, the salt, because the salt has a temperature range too to it, that it's just not going to melt that ice. Usually you see stuff like that in mountain passes or Wyoming, or untreated roads that are not treated, are like not driven a lot. They might be treated, but there's not a lot of traffic on that road, so you won't see it a lot. But for the most part, if you're on an interstate, a state route, a common driven route, they're going to treat the roads with salt and sand. And you'll still see that spray. Even if it's 15 degrees outside, you'll still see the spray because they'll just keep having, salt trucks coming through and treating the roads. Also, um, what was I gonna say? Salt trucks, spray. Okay, so then now that's for like snow and all that, right? But also, if there's rain, a lot of times you'll have freezing rain. Freezing rain is more dangerous than snowy conditions because that ice, I mean that salt is gonna melt, dissolve with the water of the rain, or it's gonna wash away on the ground because of the rain. So it's like a fine, you gotta time it just perfectly. Like, what's the weather? What's the temperature? If I put this salt on the ground, is it too wet for it to, and it gets washed away? Or like they have to do like the calculations, I guess, right? So sometimes when you have freezing rain, the salt trucks can't do nothing because it's not cold enough. Like the environment is not cold enough, the air, for it to be snow, but the ground is really cold. So when it hits the ground, it turns into um, ice. But the transition between it turning into ice and hitting the ground, like sometimes the ground is not cold enough for it to turn into ice, or it's like just slushy kind of. So then when they put the salt down, they can't, it's gonna wash away. So you got like just a couple of degree difference between it washing away or the salt actually sticking and dissolving the ice. So you have freezing rain and freezing fog. Those two things are dangerous. So freezing fog, I feel like, is way more dangerous than freezing rain because a lot of people don't know about freezing fog. They don't know that freezing fog is basically like being in the clouds. It's water pellets and it's like moisture, but the moisture always also is on the ground too, and it causes black ice. And while it's not raining, it's still going to cause black ice. And if you don't know about that, then you wouldn't know that that's what happens. So that's why you want to watch the weather. Watch the weather, watch the forecast, go on 511 for that state that you're in, and just know, like, if the roads are being treated. Also, they reduce the speed limit for the weather conditions too. So if they reduce the speed limit from 70 to 55, go 45. If they reduce it from 45 to 25, go 15, right? Like go like 10 miles slower than what the posted speed limit is when they reduce it, or just don't drive at all. Um, I just think that, and then also there's a thing that you can look at on your dashboard, right? Look, so if I know like right now the temperature is 29 degrees outside, my tires are 68 and 66 degrees. Front axle is 68 degrees. The rear axle is 66 degrees. So as I'm driving, if there's not really thick ice on the ground, my tires are going to melt that ice. We have bigger tires than cars. That's why you don't see semi trucks sliding off the roads like cars do, because we are heavier, we have more body, and our tires are hotter than a car's tires would be. So that gives you a little bit of a, I guess I should say, like, peace of mind that you're not going to just slide off the highway, just bloop, gone. It's not going to happen like that. So if it's snowing outside, like it is right now, right? You got a little bit of snow falling. If it's snowing outside, just because you see snow on the shoulders and stuff, does not necessarily mean it's unsafe to drive. You can still drive if you see the roads are treated with the salt and sand mixture. You can still drive if you see the spray coming off the tires. You can still drive if it's daylight hours and the sun is up. You can still drive if Um, you're slowed down and not going too fast for weather conditions, you'll be good. You don't have nothing to worry about. You cannot drive when you're driving and you'll see a traction thing show up on the dashboard, meaning your tires are spinning. That means there's ice on the ground, and you don't see spray on the tires because what will happen is the ice just doesn't just pop up like that. Right now, there's probably ice on the ground, but it's not slippery, right? I can tell there's ice on the ground, but it's not slippery ice. So if there's a truck driving through here at 65 miles an hour, I won't see spray on their tires. The way the road looks right now is a mental note. It's time to get ready to pull over because if any more moisture comes down, then these roads are going to turn into black ice. So your first clue is when the road looks dry, but there's no spray coming off the tires, start looking for somewhere to shut down. When the road is wet or there's snow falling faster than the salt is melting it, you need to be pulling over. If the road is shiny, period, and you know that you seeing cars spinning out and stuff like that, your truck is telling you you're spinning out, pull over. But your indicator is going to be the spray on the tires, number one, first and foremost. If you don't see spray on the tires, you need to be starting to find somewhere to pull over. And that's like trucker rule number one as far as safety when it's winter driving. Um, don't pop your trailer brakes when you're parking because they can lock up and freeze if you have moisture in your airlines. And then you start driving again, they're locked up, and then you could burn your brakes. What else? Like, don't be scared to drive in the snow. I am 30 years old. I stopped counting at 30, so that's how old I'm forever. I'm gonna say 35. I'm forever 35 years old. Um, but when you hear of snow, when you hear of the Northeast, don't be scared because if it's too bad for truckers to drive on, they will shut the highway down. They'll treat the roads first. They'll pre-treat the roads. Um, they'll pre-treat the roads. They'll treat the roads. They'll reduce the speed limit, or they'll shut the roads down. Is it a day or night truck? What do you mean a day or night truck? What up, Fortnite? Um, and if you don't see spray on the tires, then you're good. So just don't be scared to drive in the snow. Just because it's snowing don't mean. I think the worst thing that I ever had to deal with when it's snowing, because the roads were treated, is my windshield wipers. The snow falling on the windshield wipers. And I got another tip I always do. I'll turn my defroster on my windshield on high heat, and I roll this window down to like halfway because it gets hot. But I'm trying to keep my windshield wipers hot so the snow and ice doesn't stick on the windshield wipers, and I can still keep the snow off of my windshield and ice and stuff. Yeah, it's kind of like a small home in here. So um, that's a good tip too. And put some alcohol inside your windshield washer fluid so that it doesn't freeze up or nothing like that. What up, Heidi? Um, and just don't be afraid to drive in the snow. Just because it's snowing doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad weather. So remember when I said that like snow packed ice, when it's like white on the ground and it's packed in, usually to get in or out of that situation, you put on snow chains. You're not putting on snow chains with black ice. So there's so many variables out there to help you drive through snowy weather that you shouldn't have to be afraid to drive through it if you know what to expect. You should be afraid to drive on black ice and you just pull over and don't drive at all. Chaining up, you should only be doing that if you're going to be going on mountain passes and stuff like that. Getting off the mountain, not going into a situation, but getting out of a situation. If you got to chain up to go on the mountain pass, you might as well just shut down. Or because you'll know the weather ahead of time, right? You'll know that they're going to have a chain law in effect. So you'll know not to even go towards the mountain paths, just shut down. I chain up because I don't have a problem with it. Like, I go slow enough for the conditions. It doesn't, chaining up doesn't intimidate me. Snow doesn't intimidate me because if in doubt, just go slow. And that's what I do. Um, Black ice, if I'm driving and there's freezing rain or freezing fog and I don't see spray on the tires, I'm gonna just keep peeping it out and seeing, feeling how my truck is feeling and seeing what's going on and what's happening. And if it looks really icy, then I'm gonna pull over. If it don't look as icy as it should, if it doesn't look as icy as I know how it can get, then I'll try to drive. I'll drive a little bit slow and see what it's like going over bridges and overpasses and stuff like that. But um, for the pretty much, I just don't drive too fast for the weather. And I guess now they got a policy here at this company that if there's black ice, you are to shut down. You're not even allowed to drive on black ice. So there you have to shut down. So that sucks for me because if it's black ice during the day, I'm not gonna shut down. But if it's black ice during the night, I'll shut down. And I hate that they're making us do that. But they just don't want any more insurance claims and stuff like that, which I understand. So with that all being said, don't let snow intimidate you. Just because it's snowing and you're like, I don't want to drive in the snow. It's not as bad as you're thinking it is. It's not bad. You just think it's bad because of your preconceived notion of what it is, what you think is going to happen. You're afraid of the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. Just watch out for spray on the tires and drive during the day. The state routes and the highways, they're going to take care of the rest of that. They're going to treat the roads. They're going to make sure everything is good. They're going to reduce the speed or they're going to close the highway. When it starts getting bad and a whole bunch of accidents, they're going to close the highway down. The travel ban. And also look at on your truck, see what your tire um, temperatures are, and you should be good. So I hope I help somebody out with all of this. Um, I'm gonna try to get some sleep. I got like 15 minutes to go before I gotta go off and sleeper birth. Actually, how many hours did I drive today? Because that's gonna determine if I should be on duty right now. What? 6 hours of drive time today? 6 hours and 13 minutes. I gotta drive 3 more hours. So I'm gonna have to try to just take a nap. I'm gonna go on duty right now while they're loading us. As long as we get 9.5 hours of on duty and drive time, you should be good. We should be good. And yeah, so for right now, my teammate, he's still gonna stay on the truck. And um he doesn't want to drive in the snow, which is, I don't understand that. I understand not wanting to drive in the ice, but I don't understand not wanting to drive in the snow because snow is not what you they think it is, what he thinks it is. They just know snow and, oh, I'm scared, I don't want to drive. No, it's not like that. Like, if it's snowing that bad, they will shut the roads down. So I'll keep y'all updated on his status and what we got going on. And wish y'all the best and be safe out there in this bad weather. There's another band of bad weather about to come in. Y'all be safe. Bye, y'all.